everyone, Lucamus Prime here. So it's time for the next episode of a movie that didn't need a sequel. And in today's video, I'm going to be covering this time another example of an animated film made by Disney, which in my opinion did not need sequels. And this film was also made, of course, in their 2D era, which is an era that I really do miss for Disney, because in my opinion, those films, especially in the Renaissance era, were probably where Disney was at its best when making films, which are animated. And this is definitely, in my opinion, a really underrated animated film, which I think is really funny and is so much fun to watch from start to finish. And I remember laughing my head off when I first saw it for the first time, with an amazing cast of voice actors as well. And this film as well, which in my opinion did not need a sequel, is none other than 2000's The Emperor's New Groove. So you guys probably going to be, of course, asking me of course, what are my thoughts on this film? Well, I saw this film, I think it was probably in like early 2023, I think something like that, or 2022, I think, around that time. Really, you know, a few years ago now. And when I watched it for the first time, I had an absolute blast watching it, because I thought it was really funny and was definitely, in my opinion, a really fun film. And definitely, in my opinion, a very underrated film as well. Definitely really great, with a great voice cast of people such as like David Spade, John Goodman, Eartha Kitt, Patrick Warburton, among many others. Really, it was definitely, in my opinion, a really fun film. And I also definitely think in this film the humour was executed really well. Like, one particular scene that I find absolutely hilarious is probably, of course, Wrong Lever. And if you've seen the film, you definitely know what I'm talking about, because that scene in the film makes me die of laughter every time I rewatch it. It never gets old at all. And I think as well, the story is definitely, in my opinion, really great as well. How it, of course, tells the story of the Emperor Kuzco, who is accidentally transformed into a llama by his advisor Yzma, and her, of course, dim-witted but affable henchman, Kronk. And to turn back into a human, he entrusts a village leader, which is Pacha, voiced by John Goodman, to escort him back to the palace before Yzma can track him down and finish him off. So, I personally really love the story in this film. It was definitely lots of fun, and was definitely, in my opinion, heartwarming at the same time. And I think Kuzco in particular had really great development as well for a character, in my opinion. Just really amazing development in this film. And I also thought the film has a really great ending, because at the end of the film, Kuzco is able to become human. He makes amends with people he's hurt throughout the movie, which of course is part of his development process, how he becomes likeable at the end of the film. And he builds a much smaller summer home next to Pacha's village. And Kronk also goes on to be the leader of a scout troop, with Cat Yzma as a reluctant member. So I guess you could say that Yzma had a very funny defeat, really, by being a reluctant member as a cat. So, right there, I did not see any sign of sequel baiting whatsoever, because it gave happy endings for the characters, and definitely a very funny defeat for a villain as well, I must say as well. However, unfortunately, despite this great ending, we got a sequel released 5 years later, and this was also as well, unfortunately, one of Disney's direct-to-video sequels. And just like many direct-to-video sequels I've seen, which I've really hated, this unfortunately joins them. And this sequel, of course, is none other than 2005's Kronk's New Groove. So, I watched this film early this week, guys, at the time of this recording, and compared to the first one, which I think is really funny and has a really great story with great character development, I personally really hated this film, because it fell so flat compared to the absolutely amazing first movie, and to me the only film of this franchise, just one film alone. And I really didn't like this film at all, really. I just thought it was just a massive letdown, in my opinion, compared to the first film. So, as you probably guessed from the title of this film makes Kronk the main character. Now, what I'll say is, I do love Kronk as a character in the first movie, but I really didn't like how in this film he became a main character. In my opinion, it did not work, if I'm to be completely honest. So I really didn't like that about the film, how he became a main character, really. I personally think Kronk worked much better as a supporting character in the first movie, to be completely honest, because I really didn't like how they changed him in this film, really. And one thing in this film which I personally think made it fall really flat was also the humour, because I really didn't like the way we did it in this film, because I kind of feel the humour in this went way too, you know, like, adult compared to the absolutely hilarious humour from the first movie. Because I don't know what it is, but I kind of felt like the humour in this just didn't work at all. Because one reason why I think the humour worked so well in the first film was because it was aimed for everyone, including like children and adults together really. And I personally think they executed it really well in the first movie, really well. That's why I found it so hilarious, because as somebody who's in his 20s, I found the first one to be absolutely hilarious from start to finish. The humour, in my opinion, was really well done. As for the sequel, I just didn't laugh because I didn't find it funny. Like, compared to the first film, the sequel's humour, in my opinion, was a massive letdown. In my opinion, painfully unfunny. Especially when I talk about Kronk, because I thought he was hilarious in the first film. I thought Paul Patrick Warburton. But yeah, the humour just didn't work for me. And also as well, characters are also wasted as well, because Patcher is in this film, but unfortunately he's hardly in it, which I really hated. Like, come on. I love Patcher in the first movie, but and he barely played in the sequel. That really sucks. The same also applies to Cusco as well, because he's only the narrator for this film and doesn't really appear much. So what an absolute waste of Cusco as well. So yeah, that was, in my opinion, just a massive joke how he wasted characters, in my opinion. Like, what happened? Like, that was, in my opinion, just really stupid. Like, I really hated that in the film. Like, wasting fan favourite characters, just a massive mistake. Not to mention, there was also a dumb sequel-baiting setup as well towards the end. Probably setting up maybe, like, a third film. But thankfully, since this second film, we've not had any other films in this franchise. And you know what? Good. Thank goodness for that. Because I personally think Emperor's New Groove only went best as one movie. There was also a TV show, but I've not seen it. And I'm not really interested in seeing it, because I personally believe Emperor's New Groove was only best as just one film. Just one alone, really, if I'm to be completely honest. So I was just disappointed with what happened in the sequel. You know, like, the humour is, in my opinion, not funny. And Kronk being the main character, in my opinion, also did not work either as well, in my opinion. Like, it was just, in my opinion, really stupid what they did with it. Like, compared to a 10 out of 10 that I give to the first film, an underrated masterpiece, I give this second one a very bad 4 out of 10. That's only because, you know, the characters of all the actors who reprised the roles from the first film, at least. At least they come back and try their best with the bad script they're given. And also, as well, the animation is also decent as well, in my opinion, too. You know, it's not as bad as other direct-to-video sequels I've seen, thankfully, I guess. But it's not really saying much, unfortunately, really. But, yeah. I just think the sequel, for me, is a massive letdown. And to me, there's only one Emperor's New Groove movie. So, anyway, guys, this is me covering why, in my opinion, The Emperor's New Groove did not need a sequel. So, when it comes to what I order in the future, guys, hopefully I'll try and find the original film on Blu-ray. Hopefully I won't be able to have a sequel with it as like a 2-pack or anything like that. I'll only get a first film, just one film alone, because to me there can only be one film, just one alone. So, you know the drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to comment what you guys think of the film. If you've seen it, let me know in comments below, do you need a sequel or not, or in the comments below what you think. Also, be sure to join Team Family Press and subscribe to come in the future, and I'll see you all later.